We go to Richmond. We go to Jeff in Richmond. My brother, what's going on?
Jim, thanks for the vine, and thanks for the time. And, Jim, let me first of all wish you and yours the very best this year. And, Jim, I want you to know, I want the XR4 Ti crew to know, I want the morally bankrupt clones across a fruited plain to know. But most importantly, Jim, I want the CBS suits to know. And, Jim, when I'm speaking about the suits, I'm speaking about Chairman David Bearson. I'm speaking, Jim, about Sean McManus, Patty Power, Kelly Call, your guy, Jim, Drew Kaliski, Dan Weinberg, and also, Jim, CBS VP of Operations, Tyler Hale. Jim, I want the suits to know that anytime they see the dirtiest player in the game, Jeff from Richmond on the marquee, anytime, Jim, the CBS suits see rolling behind you, Jim, not only the best photo montage in the history of sports, Jim, but the best photo montage, Jim, in the history of entertainment, I want the suits to know collectively at that moment, Jim, that business is about to pick up. Jim, if you'll indulge me for a brief moment, I want to give a shout-out to the biggest toolbox in the history of sports entertainment, and that, of course, Jim, is Matt from L.A. San Quentin from L.A. Rikers Island from L.A. Colorado Supermax from L.A. Matt, I know you're out there. I know you can hear me. Matt, you made a decision in Smackoff 27 to call into the program on your 20-year-old T-Mobile flip phone. Not only did you sound like you were 20 feet under the water, my man, but that act was very disrespectful to the legendary pimp in the box, Mr. Jim Rome. Matt, former Jacksonville Jaguars head coach Urban Meyer slipping on his OSU pullover and stepping out of the dance floor and grinding his hips and his private parts into that unassuming 18-year-old blonde OSU co-ed thinks your decision, Matt, was selfish and self-absorbed. But, Matt, here's the real deal. The real tragedy of your decision, you kept other legitimate jungle legends off the air that day. Matt, we could have heard from Dr. Dave from Detroit. We could have heard from Ricky from Tampa or Mona from Knoxville, or more importantly, Matt, we could have heard from that jungle badass Jeff from San Antonio. What? My fiance? And, Matt, while we're at it, let's talk about Smackoff 25. Damon Amendola, DA, steel-toe booted you to the package, my man, for 8.5 minutes. He curb-stomped you. He speed-bagged you. He left you laying in the fetal position, Matt, with your thumb stuck firmly in your pie hole. And Jim Rome made an executive decision on that day, Matt, an executive decision. He put you into protective custody. He PC'd you up because he knew you weren't ready for the big stage. Matt, the bottom line is this. You and your takes are softer than a wisp of cotton candy. And, Matt, if I were you, I would never, Matt, and I mean ever, call the Smackoff again. By the way, Matt, how does it feel to get smashed up on national television? It doesn't matter how you feel, Matt. Jim, in closing, let me say this to you, and I want you to remember this, Jim. Jim, for cutting-edge sports analysis and some schmack, Jim, you need look no further, Jim, than the great Commonwealth of Virginia, Jim, the 804. We are your hookup, Jim. Holler if you hear me. And to all you morally bankrupt clones, I ask you this rhetorical question in closing. Who wants to walk with Jeff from Richmond? Jim, thank you for your time. Aloha means goodbye. War number 46, Joe from Scranton. keeping 2 or 3 pieces of hard candy in his pocket at all times. Ward Joe from Scranton shoehorning the phrase, "as the crow flies," into every political statement he makes and forgets he's repeating himself. Ward Jake Rome showcasing his blonde hair and his blue eyes at the Del Mar internship and attracting a lot of attention from the 20 to 22-year-old SoCal hotties that frequent Del Mar. Wore Logan Rome punching out a batter on the pitcher's mound and the old man standing up and screaming, "That's scrumptious, Logs!" And wore Josh McDaniel leading the Raider Nation forward without the nicks and cuts of a blade. And until next time, Jim, good night now!
There he is, the legend, Jeff in Richmond. Go ahead, start it up. Shut it down. Let's go home. Give him the $5,000. I would, except today was not the Smackoff. Memo to these suits. He was not taking a run at any of you. He was hyping himself. He does what he does. That's his brand. He did not even get to everything he could have gotten to. Namely, his 18-inch pipes. His country estate sitting on 4 acres. His Armani suits. His luxury sleds. His rocket wife. All right, so here's the reaction to that guy. Hey, Rome, Jeff from Richmond doesn't move the needle. Like when Tiger tees it up, he is the needle. Like Super Bowl week does not start until Jim Rome gets to Radio Row. Smackoff season does not start until Jeff from Richmond kicks it off. Good night now. Aaron in Iowa. You know what? I hadn't thought about that. In fact, I think that's what that was. The official start to Smackoff season. The thing about Matt, I know a lot of you are thinking, dude, don't do it. Don't do it, Rome. Do not take Matt's call. I'm going to tell you what I respect about Matt. And it's more than one thing. Yes. Here is what I respect about Matt. Number one, he's got my back. He's got the show's back. Number two, the thing that I really, really respect about Matt, my man's hands are always up, always clenched, always cocked, and he's ready to let them go. Every single time. I respect that. I do. And then there's Jeff in Richmond. I mean, do you love the guy or hate the guy? The answer is yes. Glue sniffer tweets. I would rather hear nails on a chalkboard than hick in Richmond. The thing about hick in Richmond, I'm not sure what he likes more. The fact that you love him or the fact that you hate him. I think either way, it's a drug to him. This person writes, Jeff in Richmond, still got it. Dude is relevant and makes it better. Yo, Matt, stay away from this one. Take the drag and wear it. Chiz and NoCal, what are the chances of that happening? Never. Ever. At Sullivan 1870 tweets, hey, Rome, Jeff in Richmond makes me want to stick my finger down my throat and gag. Signed, Diarrhea.
Diarrhea is the
always good to hear from Diarrhea.
Think about it. Diarrhea doesn't care who. Diarrhea.
So what is it? Diarrhea or, quote, diarrhea. This guy is funny as hell. I can't get enough of this guy. He is hilarious. I love this guy. Colin. Half of you want to fight the guy and think he's diarrhea, and half of you think he's the best thing that ever happened. Bill Deemer, Rome. Guess the thought of that clown Jeff not using regurgitated old wrestling catchphrases into his call was just too much to hope for. Pretty much. It's his brand. He's on brand. At Wooden Laconic. total gyms uttered by Jeff in Richmond during that call? 26. Glad I took the over. War old school callers. If you get it, you get it. Pure brilliance. I don't think there is a more polarizing caller in the history of this show than Jeff in Richmond. Either you think that he's the most brilliant guy ever, or you think he's the biggest pile of diarrhea ever.
Diarrhea.
Nobody's saying, yeah, I can take it or leave it. Yeah, it's pretty good. No, it's like he's diarrhea. He's straight diarrhea. Or yo, Rome. Best thing I've heard in a long time. Hey, Jim. I haven't heard Jeff call for a while, and now I remember why almost everybody thinks he's an a-hole. It's a sports show, Jeff, not a slap fight. Mike and Snowbird. See, that's the thing, Mike. Not almost everybody thinks he's an a-hole. A lot of people do, but not even close to almost everybody. I'd say half of everybody. And the other half want to party with the guy. Jake Stover, quote, few callers can change the vibe on a Friday show for the better, and Jeff in Richmond is one of them. Which one is it? Is he the biggest pot of diarrhea ever?
Diarrhea.
Or is he one of the few that can change the vibe of a Friday? And how weird is this? I'm a guy, for the record, I love Jeff in Richmond. Hear me say it again. I love the guy. But I'm good with Matt, too. Yeah, Rome, you're good with everybody who calls. The hell I am. I mean, it's a fine line to walk, right?
I love him.
Because there's so many people that want to fight me that hate me. Fine. I get that. Hell, the day you stop hating me is the day that I no longer matter. Believe me, I want you to hate me. Not all of you, but enough of you. But for the ones that don't, that love the show, that call the show, it would seem to reason that I love all of you. But I don't, because some of you don't make it better, even if you love the show.
You're welcome.
JC in Calgary. I love Canada jumping in. Quote, the most impressive part of heft in Richmond's call was him not stopping for a snack midway. War every Tuesday being Fat Tuesday for Jeff.
Fat.
Took a little while to get to calling him fat. I thought that would have happened sooner.
Fat.
Do it again, Alvy. What is it? What's today? Fat Tuesday. Hey, Van Sizzle. Great to hear from Jeff from Richmond. I really enjoyed that filibuster of a phone call. Signed Andy from Denver. Wore the suits of CBS Googling Jeff from Richmond to figure that hick out. Yeah, I don't know. I think Sean's got more important things to do. I know David Burson does. Kelly Call. Kelly Call might do it for kicks. I love Kelly Call. You're not going to like this. Not only am I going to name drop Kelly Call is a good friend of ours now. Kelly Call, I don't want to say this. Kelly's been to the house. Not the house. Kelly has been to the house in Wisconsin, yo. Kelly and I had beers at the house in Eagle River. Do you know why that is? Because Kelly Call is the dawn of the Badger Mafia. My man is calling the shots for the Badger Mafia. He didn't get Jake in to Wisconsin because none of those guys have that kind of pull, but he got me excited. Got all of us excited about the possibility and was there to say, hey, listen, what do you need? Do you need information? Do you have any questions? Do you want to hang out with me at a tailgate? I'm like, wait, Kelly Call, president of CBS Entertainment? Yes. I don't even care if you can get the kid in, man. Let's talk about me, Kelly. Never mind the kid. You know how parents do everything for their kids? Nah. Nope. Well, one more thing, too. When Jeff from Richmond said, and War Jim Rome standing up and yelling scrumptious when Logan Rome punched out a batter. I did the other day. I did it the other day. I had it locked and loaded. And the other parents all turned around and looked at me like, what did you say? I said, yeah, I said it. Scrumptious.
That's Scrumptious, Logs.
I did do that. And he said, wore Jake Rome with the blonde hair and the blue eyes, making an impression on the young females at Del Mar when he had his internship. Thing is, Jake looks like a blonde-haired Jim Rome. Logan's the pimp, though. Jake will disagree with that, but deep down he knows I'm right. And I tell them both, hey, yo, I'm proud of you boys. I love you boys. Handsome young men. You don't look as good as me. And I'm like 8 times older than you. That's the bar, boys. That's the bar. You hope you look this good. You know when you look at your parents and you're like, oh, that's what I'm going to look like when I'm that age? They hope so. They hope so.
Scrumptious.
They should be hitting me with that. Yo, Pop. Scrumptious.
Scrumptious.